What's up everybody, it's Cameo, welcome back to my channel. This is my boyfriend Eric. Today I'm doing something a little bit different than my usual gaming content, still gaming related. So I've always played video games on consoles. I've been playing on an old PS4 for years now, and I thought it was time to finally upgrade to the PC gaming life. Especially since I'm gonna start streaming in the next couple weeks. I felt like it was a much needed upgrade for a lot of reasons. I just wanna say that this is not a tutorial by any means. He has built his own PC once. I have zero experience, so we barely know what we're doing. I think the total ended up being a little over $1,000, which is pretty good. I wanted it to be affordable, but it wouldn't sacrifice in performance for gaming and video editing and everything I plan on using it for. I will link everything that I got in the description below, and I also am going to put it in the video, the name of everything and how much it cost. At the end of the video, Eric will have a few key takeaways of what we learned during this experience so that you can learn from it too if you are watching this and you are a beginner. So stay tuned for the end of the video for that, and thank you so much for watching my PC build video. Here are all of the parts I got for my gaming PC build, and I'll put it on the screen here, their names and the price I got them at. So originally I had gotten this case here, but I will touch more on this later because it quickly became an issue and I could not use it. First things first was to unbox the main part, the motherboard. When I was unboxing the CPU, I was confused because I guess this part also comes with its own fan that you can use instead of a cooler.
Fragile part.
I know.
Careful.
I am. Now here is the Vulkan gaming desktop memory and the Crucial solid-state drive hard drive.
It's crazy how small they are.
Now that we had the main motherboard pieces unboxed, it was time to look over the manual for all the components and to get an idea of where they were all going to go. Step one was to install the CPU. I was so nervous to accidentally break this, but all I did was pull and lift that lever out of its position to lift up the top of the CPU socket. Eric put in the part, and when we went to go close it, the plastic piece came off, which I panicked about, but apparently it's totally fine and needs to come off anyways. Now that the CPU was in, it was time to remove the cover for the hard drive. We set it inside its slot, peeled off the sticker on the back of the cover, and installed that back on. Moving on to the RAM, the instructions for my motherboard said to put the 2 RAMs in the gray slots, so that's what we did here. Just make sure to check and see what your manual says. Then it was time to unbox the ASUS GPU.
Wow, nice box.
And the GPU install coming up was easy, but it ended up giving us some issues, and you'll see why. Speaking of issues, going back to the case, we discovered that my case was a micro-sized case, so the motherboard wasn't going to fit. We got up and went to Best Buy, and luckily they had exactly the case I was looking for a really good price. This was a really rookie mistake, so please learn from us and make sure your motherboard will fit your case when ordering all of your parts. That's literally like the same case.
Side by side. Not too much bigger. It's like thicker, taller, and wider.
Mm-hmm. Now, our next problem was getting the motherboard GPU area to fit properly into the case. We had removed the panels on the side, but turns out it needed that for the support. We ended up just removing the GPU altogether and reinstalling the motherboard, and then added the GPU back in, and it fit great.
Lined up.
Got it? So it's something that needed to be installed after the fact. Just because of the design of the case.
You probably could have gotten it but it's just easier.
Yeah. Now moving on to unboxing the power supply and the cooler. When putting the power supply in the case, we had a moment where we weren't sure if the fan inside should go up or down, but we did a quick Reddit search and people say it's just preference. So we went with installing the fan facing down, just like Eric did for his. Now comes the hardest part, plugging everything in. Finding where everything goes, as well as making it look nice and clean while doing so, was a challenge.
So this is the power to the CPU.
We took a break from plugging things in to getting the cooler ready for install by screwing on the fans and figuring out the metal bracket that would work for the cooler. Depending on your CPU, it has different setups for the bracket.
There we go.
Nice.
And that holds it in place, and then we'll screw that onto there. And this, squeeze that on here. This will like adhere to the CPU, and then we'll screw it down from the top.
Okay.
So that's the missing puzzle piece.
Now, unfortunately, we had to finish plugging everything in. And once we finally wrapped that up, we went to go install the cooler on top of the case. We made sure to add in some thermal paste on top of the CPU, which would help keep it cool over time. It was time to install the cooler to the CPU, and we were basically done now. Also, look at our cute little observers that really wanted to know what we were up to all day. The next day we went to go turn on the PC for the first time and see if everything turned on and worked correctly. Keep in mind, this was my first PC build, so I just had to do a reaction video for it.
So now there's power to the motherboard if the light came on.
Oh yeah.
The moment of truth.
Oh my god, it's so pretty!
So glowy.
That's just the right amount of color.
Yeah.
Unfortunately though, we realized there was an orange light on above the RAM. A Reddit thread said that the motherboard is not recognizing the RAM because it probably needs to have its drivers updated. They said to fix the light, you just need to remove one of the 2 RAM cards for now, which did do the trick. After troubleshooting that, so we thought, we now had the issue of the VGA light being on. We tried everything to troubleshoot that. We took out the graphics card, we took out the motherboard battery to reset it.
30 seconds.
1, 2, 3, 4. That's fine. We checked all of the power cables. This ain't a prayer.
Didn't work.
But funny enough, what ended up working for us was literally just plugging in the monitor. We should have just tried that in the first place, but you live and you learn. We're just glad that was at least an easy fix. After getting Windows installed and some more research, we then realized the RAM light was on because one of the 2 cartridges was defective. According to the internet, it's a very common issue, especially with the more budget-friendly types like the one I have. So I had to put the whole build on pause for several days to get a replacement part in. But once that came, we installed it and it worked, yay! My PC build is now finally complete and fully functional. All right, if you've made it through this whole video, we are now going to share with you a few pointers and kind of just tips that we learned during this process.
Okay, key takeaway number 1, triple check all of the parts before you buy them. You want to look at the specs, the sizes of everything to make sure it's all going to fit and you don't end up buying the wrong size case like we do. Key takeaway number 2, have a friend that has a PC or maybe a work PC that you can use to download all of the drivers and everything that you need, otherwise you're not going to get very far. And key takeaway number 3, stay calm and don't just start tearing things apart if it's not working. Try to think really hard about what might not be working and troubleshoot it. It's going to be a lot easier and keep you sane.
And maybe go on Reddit. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. I will have so much more gaming content coming out now that I have this nice new PC to play on. Leave any comments below if you have any questions. We'll try to answer them, and I'll see you all in the next video.